It is my pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker, Ms. Kourtney Galloway. Ms. Galloway is a multi-hyphenate creative, entrepreneur, and visionary strategist committed to reshaping culture through faith-rooted storytelling, intentional leadership, and legacy-driven work. She is the founder and CEO of Revamped Creative, full-service agency specializing in brand strategy, public speaking management, creative direction, and talent representation. Through Revamped, Kourtney leads a team devoted to empowering Black voices, building sustainable platforms, and telling stories that matter. She also serves as the founder of Bell Candle Company, a luxury home fragrance brand inspired by her great-grandmother and designed to bring peace, memory, and soul into every space. A passionate public speaker and writer, Ms. Galloway curates spaces that honor faith, womanhood, purpose, and healing. She is currently pursuing a degree in business administration at Belhaven University. She also holds an alternative teaching license. Named for her ability to blend softness with strategy and creative with clarity, Kourtney is a modern Southern voice with a mission to build platforms that last, amplify stories that heal, and make room for the next generation of visionaries. Please join me as we welcome Ms. Kourtney Galloway.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for that introduction. Before I dive in, I want to take a moment to say thank you to the Mississippi Community College Board and to the State Director of Post-Secondary Student Organization for the honor of being here. Thank you for trusting me with this space and for not only believing in the next generation of leaders, but also for pouring into us. When I was first given this opportunity, I promised myself one thing, that I would not show up trying to impress anyone, but I would show up as Chick-fil-A taught me, to serve, and more importantly, as my current job teaches me, to serve with joy. Right now, I'm thinking about the younger version of myself who would be sitting in the audience, listening to people speak, and wondering if I would ever be called into those places. And I think about how, even now, leadership isn't about the spotlight, but it's about assignment. The truth is, I did not grow up thinking about what my career would be, where I would be in life, or any of those things. I just knew I wanted to build something that would outlive me. So, before I speak to you as a CEO, or as a creative, I would like to speak to you as a person. So, she already gave you my bio, but hello, I'm Kourtney Galloway. I'm a 24-year-old student at Belhaven University, a publicist, storyteller, creative director, and my most favorite title is I'm a dog mom. I'm also a woman of faith who still has a habit of trying to do a million things at once, and by the grace of God, I get them done on time. I own 3 businesses: Freedom Revamped, which is a digital platform for young Black women of faith; Revamped Creative, which is a brand and storytelling agency; and Bell Candle Company, a legacy brand I built in honor of my great-grandmother, Miss Annie Bell Jackson. I don't share that for accolades, but I do share that because every single one of those ideas did not come from me. They came from God. I didn't always understand why He gave them to me, but that's how purpose works. It grows with you. Sometimes leadership isn't about creating something big. It's about creating something that will outlive you. I learned that more and more every day because I work in my community. When I'm not running all of these businesses, I work as an instructional assistant at Midtown Public Charter School in Jackson, Mississippi. And those everyday moments with my students teach me that sometimes you have to get down and do the nitty-gritty work. You don't always have to share in the spotlight. So my days are spent helping students find their voices, showing them what leadership looks like up close, and sometimes reminding 4-year-olds that nap time is really the most important part of their day and mine. Because I've learned so much about how my students need patience, empathy, and structure, I am also pursuing my RBT certification in Applied Behavior Analysis Therapy. It's another way that I'm learning to serve, to see the small behaviors that shape big breakthroughs, and to help young people thrive emotionally, academically, and personally. Those everyday moments inside the classroom and outside of it have shaped me just as much as the boardrooms our brain shoots ever did. And that's what I want to talk to you about today, what it means to lead well. Not just when the light's on you, but even when nobody's watching, especially when nobody's watching. Leadership isn't just a title, it's a decision. I didn't start leading when I got a position. I started when I decided to take what was inside of me seriously. Before the applause, before the confidence, before the knowledge. Leadership has always been personal to me. It's about showing up faithfully wherever God places you. Whether that's a brainstorming session, a boardroom, or a classroom full of preschoolers learning how to share. You don't need a stage to be a leader. Sometimes leadership looks like choosing integrity when nobody's clapping. It's being the student or intern who says, I don't know everything yet, but I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to grow. Let's take a second to breathe that in. You don't have to have it all figured out to lead well. You just have to start where you are. Now, let's talk about the part that nobody really touches on, obedience. My leadership journey did not start with the 5-year plan at all, but it started with a burden. My first business, Freedom Revamped, began when I was 15 years old, about to be 16, because I wanted young Black women like myself to feel seen and spiritually safe. A blog turned into a platform, and one post turned into purpose. But what people didn't see were the late nights I taught myself design from scratch, running my posts through my mother to make sure they were grammatically correct, the events that got canceled, the posts that flopped, but still, I moved forward. Not because the door was wide open, but because there was a longing inside of me, and something just telling me to walk anyway. You see, obedience isn't glamorous. It'll cost you some sleep. It might cost you some friends. It will actually cost you friends. But what I'm learning is everyone isn't meant to be included in your journey. Some people are meant for a reason. Some are meant for a season. And some just aren't meant to go where you're being taken. And that's okay too. It's not a loss. It's leadership. Some lessons don't come from losing. They come from releasing. Every time I had to let go of something or someone, I found that God always provided what I needed to keep building. And that's what, when God provides the vision, he provides the provision meant for me. And let me be real with you. Sometimes that provision does not show up as a check. Sometimes it's clarity. Sometimes it's peace when everything seems to be falling apart. Sometimes it's that one friend who believes when you barely do. God never promised easy, but he always promised enough. That same obedience led me to Revamped Creative, where I learned to steward other people's dreams. And then it led me to Bell Candle Company, where I learned to honor legacy through creativity. And maybe you're sitting here thinking, okay, Kourtney, but I don't know what that looks like for me yet. And that's okay, because the key word in that sentence is yet. You don't need a business plan to have a purpose. Instead, ask yourself, what's been tugging on your heart that you cannot ignore? Because that tug, that nudge, that's usually where leadership starts. Leadership is not a destination, it's a process. And processes always require growth. Growth is messy. It takes courage. I didn't have a perfect plan. I just had a willingness to start. I built while I was healing. I launched while I was grieving. I showed up in rooms I didn't feel ready for, like today, until God reminded me, why I was here. I remember sitting in my grandmother's room when I was living with her. It was a very stormy day. And if y'all know Mississippi, the storms, not yet. My laptop was overheating, and I was getting ready to upload a blog post, praying that it would upload before the Wi-Fi cut off, because at the time I did not have the necessary equipment. And that was leadership too, because leadership isn't polished, it's persistent. People will always celebrate the launch, and don't get me wrong, that should absolutely be celebrated, because the launch comes after all of your blood, sweat, and tears, your lonely nights, your crying in your car. But oftentimes we don't talk about the becoming, the quiet seasons, the in-between, the I'm not sure if this is even for me moments. And throughout all of those moments that I had, I realized that everything that has ever happened to me has shaped me as a leader. Every disappointment, every detour, every win, nothing is wasted. Every moment, good or bad, is a lesson preparing me for the next season. I always have to remind myself, Kourtney, you are not behind, but you are becoming. And I'm quite sure some of you are in that same space. Some of you are in the building season, some are breaking habits, some are just learning to believe you're worthy of the call. Wherever you are, honor that space. Growth doesn't always look glamorous, and I'm gonna keep saying that because it's not glamorous at all. But sometimes it just looks like giving yourself a bucket full of grace. And grace is so important because once you start growing, life will test that growth in every way possible. I've faced burnout. I've rebranded mid-crisis. I've cried in parking lots after meetings that did not go well. I've planned events that didn't go the way I hoped or didn't happen at all. And there were moments where I told myself that I should just quit. But that tug that I talked about earlier, it always comes back. It's a reminder that says, keep going. The vision is still valid. Not every setback requires you to fight against the entire grain. Sometimes you just need to rest, refocus, and move differently. I can tell you about something that just happened yesterday while I was at work, because as a young teacher working with people who have been in the teaching field like 30 plus years, it can be very discouraging. Sometimes they might talk to you like you're a little child. Other times they'll come at you lovingly and correctingly, but it's all worth it in the end. Yesterday, one of my students did not get to go outside. I work with the 4-year-olds because she was on red when it was recess time. When I came back in, she was very hurt. In fact, she told me she was heartbroken because she did not get to hang out with Miss Galloway. For me, that was a very pivotal moment because oftentimes I think that I'm not a good leader or that I'm not stewarding that position well. But there are really small moments when people will show you that you are doing the best that you can and that it is seen, it is noticed. So that's where resilience comes in. Those small moments when people are telling you how good you're doing, you have to lean on those moments and look at resilience. And resilience isn't something that is loud. Sometimes it looks like honoring your no. Sometimes it looks like rebuilding quietly. Sometimes it might look like resting when your worth feels tied to your work. And saying no isn't quitting. It's protecting your yes. Resilience says, even if it's hard, I'm still here. I'm still building. I'm still believing. And through all of that, I've learned a few lessons that have carried me through every season of leadership. 1, resilience whispers, keep going. Build your discipline louder than anything else. Number 2, your brand starts with you. If people trust you, they will trust what you're building. Integrity will outlast any applause. Number 3, your mindset determines your movement. you only believe in what's in your hands right now, you'll never reach for what's in your heart. Number 4, redefine success. It might not be a viral post or a packed calendar. Sometimes success is peace. Sometimes it's walking away from something that doesn't honor your values. Number 5, growth is your assignment. Don't cling to who you were when God is trying to grow you into who you're becoming. Every season is preparation for the next. Somewhere in between all of my growing and obeying and building, I realized something else. When you're meant to lead, you'll be placed in leadership whether you plan it or not. Everywhere I've ever gone, work, school, church, I've only tried to just be a helping hand and somehow ended up leading. It's never been about chasing titles. It's been about showing up. Because when you carry leadership in your spirit, it shows up before your resume ever does. And finally, my favorite part, legacy. Legacy doesn't start when people remember your name. It starts when you remember who you are and choose to lead from that place every single day. Legacy isn't built someday, it's built now. It's built in how you respond to setbacks, in how you treat people when you think no one's watching, in what you say yes to, and what you choose to walk away from. For me, legacy looks like honoring my family, like producing a film in honor of my aunt and uncle, or developing a campaign inspired by Cassandra Welchland and the women who shaped Mississippi. It looks like launching Revamped's first internship program, because I started as an intern at 16 and now get to build opportunities for others at 24. It looks like expanding our agency, partnering with cities, and creating spaces where creativity, culture, and purpose collide. You might think you're just one person sitting in a crowd right now, but I guarantee you that Mississippi's next leaders are in this room. Some of you all are carrying ideas that could change families, change classrooms, change this state. Don't wait until you feel ready to start. Start and let God meet you in motion. Whether you're running a business, guiding a royal court, pursuing certification to better serve your students, or figuring out your next move, you are a leader. Before you go to sleep tonight, I want you to do one thing. Write down that very tug that I mentioned earlier, something that you've just been too scared to start. And then write down one small step that you will take this week. Because legacy doesn't start when you arrive. It starts with the next decision you make. So, I challenge you to make this decision. Make the decision to lead. Lead boldly. Lead humbly. Lead with wisdom. And always lead by grace. Thank you to every student, every creative, every dreamer in this room. Thank you for showing up, for listening, for leaning in. It's been an honor to stand here with you. You don't need permission to lead. You just need to decide that what you do matters. Legacy isn't something you leave behind. It's something you live out loud.